The Dog That Knew, a Child's Secret in the Corner. The growling started on a Tuesday night, low and guttural, coming from the family's golden retriever who had never shown aggression a day in his life. Max stood rigid in the hallway, his eyes fixed on the corner of little Emma's bedroom, his hackles raised like tiny soldiers standing at attention. Every night, the same corner. Every night, the same warning. Everyone thought the dog had gone mad. Everyone except Emma. When instinct speaks louder than words. Sarah and Tom Mitchell had adopted Max 3 years ago, and he'd been the perfect family companion, gentle with their 5-year-old daughter Emma, patient with visitors, and calm even during thunderstorms. But something had changed 2 weeks ago when they moved into the old Victorian house on Maple Street. The house had been a steal, a foreclosure with good bones, hardwood floors, and that coveted charm that comes with 100-year-old architecture. The real estate agent had been almost too eager to close the deal, but Tom dismissed it as enthusiasm. After all, they were getting their dream home at 30% below market value. The first week was magical. Emma loved her spacious room with its bay windows overlooking the garden. She'd set up her dollhouse in the corner, the very corner that now held Max's unwavering attention every single night. "Maybe there's a mouse in the wall," Tom suggested on the third night of growling, pressing his ear against the faded floral wallpaper. "Or pipes," Sarah added, though she sounded uncertain. Old houses make strange noises. But Emma knew better. She'd sit on her bed, watching Max's protective stance, and whisper, "It's okay, Max. She's not mean." Are you experiencing unexplained pet behavior in your home? Keep reading. This story might change how you see the invisible world around us. The language only children speak. Children exist in a liminal space, straddling the world of imagination and reality with a fluidity that adults have forgotten. While Sarah and Tom saw an empty corner with peeling wallpaper and a small water stain on the ceiling, Emma saw something else entirely. She saw the girl. The girl was about Emma's age, maybe a year or two older, with dark braids and an old-fashioned white dress with lace at the collar. She appeared most clearly at dusk, when the golden hour light filtered through Emma's windows and cast long shadows across the room. The girl would sit cross-legged in the corner, playing with invisible toys, humming songs Emma had never heard before. At first, Emma was frightened. She'd pull her covers up to her nose and watched with wide eyes as the translucent figure played silently. But the girl had looked up, smiled sadly, and waved. There was something deeply lonely in that gesture that made Emma's fear melt into curiosity. "What's your name?" Emma asked that first night. "Lily," came the response, soft as wind through leaves. "I've been waiting for someone who could see me." Max couldn't see Lily, not exactly, but dogs sense things humans can't. He felt the disturbance in the air, the cold spot that formed in that corner, the presence of something that shouldn't be there, according to his canine understanding of the world. His growls weren't aggressive, they were protective. He was doing his job, warning his family of the unknown. Uncovering the past. Emma's friendship with Lily grew in secret. During the day, when sunlight chased away the shadows and her parents were busy unpacking, Emma would sit in the corner and talk to the space where Lily appeared at night. "Why are you here?" Emma asked one evening, her voice barely above a whisper so her parents wouldn't hear from downstairs. Lily's ghostly form flickered like a candle flame. "I'm looking for something I lost a long time ago. I can't leave until I find it." "What did you lose?" "I don't remember. That's the worst part, not remembering." Emma's heart ached for her new friend. She decided to help, and that's when she became a detective in her own home.
The local library became Emma's research headquarters. While Sarah thought her daughter was looking at picture books, Emma was actually poring over newspaper archives on the children's computer terminals. She was precocious for her age, able to read well beyond her years, a fact that had delighted her kindergarten teacher, but was now serving a more supernatural purpose. She found it on a Saturday afternoon, a newspaper article from 1952. Local girl 7, missing, family seeks answers. The photograph was grainy but unmistakable. Lily Harrison, age 7, had disappeared from her home on Maple Street, this very house, on October 15, 1952. She'd been playing in her room one moment and simply vanished the next. Despite extensive searches, no trace of her was ever found. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through follow-up articles. The case had gone cold. Lily's parents had died in the 1980s, still never knowing what happened to their daughter. The house had changed hands multiple times over the decades, each family staying only a few years. Now, Emma understood why the real estate agent was so eager to sell. Feeling a chill down your spine? Share this story with someone who believes in the unexplainable. But first, discover what Emma found that changed everything. The hidden truth. Armed with her knowledge, Emma approached Lily differently that night. "I know who you are," she said gently. "Lily Harrison, you disappeared in 1952. Lily's ghostly form brightened slightly, as if Emma's acknowledgement gave her more substance. "I did. I remember my mother calling for me. She sounded so scared." "Do you remember what happened?" Lily's face contorted with effort, trying to grasp memories that existed like smoke. "There was a man. He came to fix something. The furnace, maybe. He said he needed to check something in my room." "In the wall?" "Behind my dollhouse." Emma's breath caught. Her dollhouse sat in the exact same spot. That night, after her parents were asleep, Emma snuck back to her room. Max, who'd been banned from nighttime growling sessions, whined softly from the hallway. Emma gave him a reassuring pat before turning to her mission.
When children teach adults to see. The next morning, Emma did something she'd never done before. She'd lied to her parents. "I want to paint my room purple," she announced at breakfast, "and we need to take down the old wallpaper first. It's ugly." Sarah and Tom exchanged glances. Their daughter had been adamant about keeping her room exactly as it was. This sudden change was suspicious, but Sarah saw an opportunity for bonding. "Okay, honey, this weekend we'll start." Emma nodded seriously. "We need to check behind the wallpaper for mold. I learned about it at school." Another lie, but a necessary one. Saturday arrived and Tom began carefully peeling away the layers of wallpaper in Emma's room. Max sat in the doorway, silent for once, as if he knew something important was happening. 3 layers down, Tom's scraper hit something that wasn't drywall. His face went pale. "Sarah," he called, his voice strained. "Call the police." Behind the wallpaper was a hastily constructed false wall, barely 2 feet deep, and behind that, curled in a space too small for closure, too dark for justice, were the remains of Lily Harrison, still wearing the tattered remains of a white dress with lace at the collar. The house became a crime scene. Cold case detectives arrived. The story was all over the news. Child's intuition solves 70-year-old mystery. But only Emma knew the full truth. Only she saw Lily standing in the corner of the room one last time, no longer flickering, no longer faded. Lily looked solid, real, and finally at peace. "Thank you," Lily mouthed. And then she was gone, truly gone, leaving only warmth where coldness had been.
The forensic investigation revealed that a furnace repairman named George Kemper, who died in 1974, had likely been responsible. They found records of his work at the house the day Lily disappeared. Other disappearances in towns where he'd worked suggested Lily hadn't been his only victim. Max never growled at that corner again. In fact, he started sleeping peacefully in Emma's room every night, as if his duty had been fulfilled. The Mitchells ultimately decided to stay in the house. After what had happened, leaving felt like abandoning Lily's memory. They held a small memorial service, and Lily Harrison was finally laid to rest beside her parents in the town cemetery. Her name was added to the headstone that had read, "Beloved daughter, forever in our hearts," for 70 years. Emma kept Lily's secret, not the one about what happened, but the one about their friendship. Adults wouldn't understand. They'd overthink it, psychoanalyze it, turn it into something clinical and cold. But children know better. Children understand that the world is bigger and stranger than what fits into neat explanations. They know that love transcends time, that justice can wait decades for the right moment, and that sometimes the most important messages come from those who've been silent too long. The invisible bonds we share. Now here's something to think about. How many times have we dismissed what children and animals try to tell us? How often do we explain away their fears, their insights, their connections to things we can't see or touch? Max wasn't crazy. Emma wasn't imagining things. They were both responding to a truth that existed in the spaces between what adults accept as real. This story isn't just about a ghost or a solved mystery. It's about the importance of listening, really listening to the ones who speak in growls and whispers, who see with innocent eyes unclouded by skepticism. It's about how a child's openness and a dog's instinct can solve what decades of adult logic couldn't. It's about the courage it takes to help someone who exists between worlds, visible only to those willing to believe. The corner of Emma's room is now painted a cheerful purple. Her dollhouse sits in a different spot. Sometimes on quiet evenings, she thinks she hears a faint giggle or the whisper of an old song, and she smiles, knowing that Lily found what she was looking for: peace, remembrance, and a friend who cared enough to see her when no one else could. Don't dismiss the unexplained behaviors in your home. Share this story with others and start a conversation about the invisible things that shape our world. And the next time your pet acts strangely or your child mentions an invisible friend, pause before explaining it away. Sometimes the truth is stranger and more important than we imagine. Remember, the smallest voices sometimes carry the biggest truths. Listen carefully. You never know what secrets are waiting to be uncovered, what wrongs are waiting to be righted, or what lonely soul is waiting for someone brave enough to see them. The dog knew, the child understood. Together, they gave Lily Harrison what she'd been seeking for 70 years, the chance to be found, to be remembered, and finally, to go home.